you are eating a heart attack. Right now, today probably at breakfast, maybe lunch, you are consuming the single most dangerous substance ever introduced to the American food supply, and your doctor has almost certainly never told you to stop. Not because they don't care, but because it's in everything. And the food industry has spent decades making sure you never find out. Welcome to Heart and Longevity, the channel where we cut through the noise and give you the science-backed truth about protecting your most vital organ. I'm so glad you're here, because what we're covering today could genuinely save your life. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button right now and the notification bell so you never miss a video like this one. We put out new heart health content every week, and this community is growing fast because people are finally getting the truth they deserve. Today we are talking about the #1 food that is silently destroying American hearts, and the shocking part is that most people eating it have absolutely no idea it's dangerous. In fact, they might actually believe it's healthy. We're going to reveal exactly what this food is, show you the science behind why it's wrecking your cardiovascular system, and then give you a clear, practical plan to protect yourself starting today. And I'm also going to tell you how to get your completely free 7-day heart protection meal plan. Just stay with me to the end because it's going to be a game changer. The problem here is a number that should stop you cold. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, heart disease kills 1 American every 33 seconds. Not every hour, not every minute, every 33 seconds. That's nearly 700,000 Americans dead from cardiovascular disease every single year, more than cancer, more than accidents, more than anything else. And yet, despite decades of public health campaigns, despite billions spent on medications, despite all of modern medicine's advances, the numbers are not getting better. They're getting worse. And researchers are finally asking the question that should have been asked decades ago. What if the food itself is the weapon? What if the thing we are eating every single day is the primary driver of this epidemic? Because here's the uncomfortable truth: heart disease is not primarily a genetic condition. The science now tells us clearly that up to 80% of heart disease cases are lifestyle-driven. And the biggest lifestyle factor? What goes in your mouth. So what is this food? It's not red meat. It's not eggs. It's not even sugar, though sugar is certainly harmful. The #1 food silently destroying American hearts is ultra-processed food, and more specifically, the industrial seed oils and refined carbohydrates packed inside them. We're talking about the canola oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, and corn oil that are used in virtually every packaged product on your grocery store shelf. We're talking about the hydrogenated fats hidden in fast food, in your favorite crackers and chips and baked goods. We're talking about foods your grandparents never ate because they literally didn't exist before the 20th century. Now let me show you exactly what happens inside your body when you eat these foods, because once you understand the mechanism, you can never unsee it. Industrial seed oils are extracted using a process involving high heat, chemical solvents like hexane, and industrial deodorization. By the time that oil reaches your bottle or your bag of chips, it has been through a process that oxidizes the fatty acids, creating compounds called aldehydes and lipid peroxides. These are toxic byproducts, and when you eat them, they don't just pass through, they get incorporated into your cell membranes, including the cells lining your arteries. What happens next is a cascade of inflammation. Your immune system recognizes these oxidized fats as foreign invaders. It launches an inflammatory response, and chronic, low-grade arterial inflammation is the precise biological mechanism that leads to atherosclerosis, the buildup of plaque in your arteries. Plaque doesn't appear overnight. It builds over years, quietly, silently, with no symptoms, until one day a piece of that plaque ruptures. A clot forms. Blood flow to the heart is blocked. That's a heart attack. And according to research published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, the oxidative stress caused by these processed oils is directly linked to endothelial dysfunction, which is damage to the inner lining of your blood vessels, the very first step toward heart disease. And the refined carbohydrates, they're not innocent either. Every time you eat a highly processed carb white bread, crackers, breakfast cereals, pastries, your blood sugar spikes hard and fast. Your pancreas floods your system with insulin to bring it back down. And over time, this repeated spiking and crashing drives insulin resistance, triglyceride elevation, and the growth of small, dense LDL particles, the most dangerous form of cholesterol. the kind that most standard cholesterol tests don't even measure properly. The American Heart Association estimates that over 130 million Americans have some form of cardiovascular disease. And the explosion of ultra-processed food in the American diet over the last 50 years runs an almost perfect parallel with that rise. Here's what makes this even more alarming. The average American now gets more than 57% of their total daily calories from ultra-processed foods, more than half. And studies have found that for every 10% increase in ultra-processed food consumption, the risk of cardiovascular disease increases by 12%, every 10 percentage points. Think about what that means for someone eating fast food twice a day, grabbing packaged snacks, pouring industrial vegetable oil over their salad, thinking it's healthy, which, by the way, most bottled salad dressings are made almost entirely of soybean oil. Now, I know what some of you are thinking this sounds overwhelming, like maybe it's too late or too hard to change. But stay with me, because the resolution here is actually simpler than you think. And in just a moment, I'm going to walk you through the exact foods to swap out, the exact oils to replace them with, and the precise changes that research shows can begin reversing arterial inflammation in as little as 30 days. Plus, I've put together a completely free 7-day heart protection meal plan that maps out every single meal. I'll tell you how to get it in just a minute. The solution, let's talk about what you actually do about this. The first and most important step is what I call the great oil swap. You need to get canola oil, soybean oil, vegetable oil, corn oil, and sunflower oil completely out of your kitchen. Look at every packaged food in your pantry. If it lists any of these in the ingredients, it needs to go. These oils are chemically unstable at high heat, they oxidize easily, and they are pro-inflammatory at the cellular level. Replace them with oils that are naturally stable, anti-inflammatory, and have been used by human beings for thousands of years. Extra virgin olive oil for low to medium heat and for dressings, avocado oil for high heat cooking, and coconut oil or grass-fed butter for baking. A landmark study published in the New England Journal of Medicine, the PREDIME trial followed over 700 people and found that those who followed a Mediterranean diet rich in extra virgin olive oil reduced their risk of major cardiovascular events by 30% compared to those on a low-fat diet. 30%. That is a bigger reduction than most heart medications produce from food alone. The second step is what I call the carb quality upgrade. This doesn't mean cutting all carbohydrates. It means swapping refined, processed carbohydrates for whole food sources of carbohydrates that come packaged with fiber, which slows glucose absorption and prevents the insulin spikes that damage your arteries. Instead of white bread, choose sourdough made with whole grain flour or whole grain rye. Instead of breakfast cereal, choose steel-cut oats with berries and a tablespoon of ground flaxseed. Instead of crackers and chips, choose raw vegetables with hummus or a handful of walnuts. The third step is to build what researchers call a cardioprotective plate. Every single meal should contain a source of omega-3 rich protein like wild-caught salmon, sardines, mackerel, or pasture-raised eggs. A colorful variety of vegetables, especially leafy greens like spinach, kale, and arugula, which are rich in nitrates that support nitric oxide production and healthy blood pressure. A healthy fat source olive oil, avocado, or a small handful of raw nuts. And a fiber-rich complex carbohydrate sweet potato, lentils, quinoa, or beans. Studies from Harvard School of Public Health show that people who follow this pattern of eating have up to 31% lower risk of heart disease mortality compared to those eating a standard American diet. And a 2022 meta-analysis published in JAMA found that replacing just 5% of energy from saturated or trans fats with unsaturated plant fats was associated with a 13 to 27% lower risk of coronary heart disease. But here's the most hopeful thing I want to leave you with. Your arteries have an extraordinary capacity to heal. The endothelium, that inner lining of your blood vessels, is constantly regenerating. Studies have shown that within 6 to 8 weeks of removing inflammatory foods and replacing them with whole anti-inflammatory alternatives, markers of vascular inflammation begin to improve. C-reactive protein drops. Blood pressure trends down. Triglycerides fall. LDL particle size shifts toward the safer, larger type. Your heart is not a static, fixed organ waiting to fail. It is a living, dynamic system that responds to what you feed it, and it can begin to recover faster than most people believe. If this video gave you clarity, if it made you rethink something in your kitchen, if you learned something that could help someone you love, please share it with them right now. One share could change someone's life. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, because next week we're covering the 5 supplements that cardiologists actually take themselves to protect their own hearts, and you do not want to miss that. I'm grateful you spent this time with me. Your heart is worth fighting for. And now you know exactly what to fight against. I'll see you in the next one.